Dr. Kim Hannah stepped carefully through the gleaming corridors of Station Harmony. Her medical scanner beeped softly as she walked toward the meeting hall where first contact would happen. She had dreamed of this moment her entire life. After years of studying alien biology, she would finally meet another intelligent species. The Veilthran beings waited in the center of the large room. They looked like living crystals, their bodies catching and reflecting the station's lights in beautiful patterns. Hannah felt her heart race with excitement. These creatures were nothing like anything humans had ever seen before. Lieutenant Park Juon stood near the wall, his hand resting on his weapon but his face calm. The other human scientists spread out around the room, each carrying their own instruments. Everyone knew how important this meeting was. If it went well, humans and Veilthrans could become friends, trade partners, maybe even allies. Hannah approached the largest Veilthran, who seemed to be their leader. The creature's crystal body pulsed with soft blue light as it communicated through harmonic vibrations. The translation device on Hannah's belt worked hard to convert the sounds into words she could understand. "We greet you, soft ones," the translator spoke in a mechanical voice. "We are curious about your kind." Hannah smiled and bowed slightly. "We are honored to meet you. I am Dr. Kim Hannah, and I study how different species live and grow. We come in peace." She pulled out her medical scanner, a small device no bigger than her hand. It could examine living tissue without causing any harm. Hannah had used it thousands of times on Earth animals and even on humans. It was completely safe, but the Veilthran warriors did not know this. They saw the device and its blue scanning beam, and their crystal bodies flashed bright red. In their world, anything that scanned living beings was a weapon. Their society had fought many wars using such tools. The largest warrior, his crystal spines extending an alarm, sent out a warning pulse. The sound was so loud that the humans covered their ears. More Veilthran soldiers entered the room, their bodies glowing with hostile energy. "Wait," Hannah called out, holding up her hands. "This is not a weapon, it is for healing." But the translation device was overwhelmed by the noise and chaos. Her words came out as garbled sounds that made no sense to the aliens. The Veil thought she was threatening them. Lieutenant Park stepped forward, his own weapon now drawn. "Doctor, get back." Everything happened very fast after that. A Veilthran warrior fired a bolt of crystalline energy at what he thought was a human soldier preparing to attack. The energy missed Park but struck a power conduit, causing sparks to shower down from the ceiling. More weapons fire erupted around the room. Human security guards tried to protect the scientists while Veilthran warriors defended their leaders. The beautiful meeting hall became a battlefield in seconds. Hannah saw movement in the corner and turned. 3 young Veilthrans, no bigger than human children, had been hiding behind their elders during the meeting. Now they were trapped in the open as energy bolts flew overhead. Their small crystal bodies flickered with terror. The young ones reminded Hannah of her little sister back on Earth. She remembered how scared her sister got during thunderstorms, how she would run to Hannah for protection. These alien children were just as frightened, just as helpless. A Veilthran warrior, not seeing the younglings behind him, charged his weapon to fire at the human guards. The energy blast would pass right through the spot where the children COWERED. Hannah did not think. She just ran. Her body crashed into the young Veilthrans just as the warrior fired. The crystalline energy bolt, meant to disable human soldiers, struck her in the chest instead. The pain was unlike anything she had ever felt, like ice and fire. At the same time, she wrapped her arms around the alien children as she fell, using her body to shield them from more weapons. Fire. Her medical scanner clattered across the floor, its peaceful blue light still blinking. The young Veilthrans looked up at her with eyes like tiny stars. They did not understand why this strange soft creature had protected them, but they could feel her kindness even as her life faded away. "They are just children," Hannah whispered, blood running from her mouth. Her words were barely audible over the sound of battle, but the station's recording system caught every syllable. "Please, do not hurt the children." Lieutenant Park reached her side just as her eyes closed for the last time. The fighting continued around them, but for a moment, everything seemed quiet. The Veilthran younglings touched Hannah's face with their small crystal hands, trying to understand what had happened. The recording of those final moments would soon travel to every human world. In her death, Dr. Kim Hannah had shown both species something important. She had proven that love and protection could cross any barrier, even between completely different forms of life. But the humans watching would see something else in that recording. They would see that one of their own had died, protecting alien children, and her killers had not even paused to mourn her sacrifice. Captain Lee Minho was drinking his morning coffee on the Mars defense platform when the emergency signal came through. The red light started flashing, and every screen in the command center switched to the same broadcast. He watched Dr. Kim Hannah die over and over again, her body covering the alien children as the energy blast took her life. The coffee cup fell from his hands and shattered on the floor, but Minho did not notice. He could only stare at the screen. As Hannah whispered her final words about protecting the children, Around him, other officers stopped their work to watch. Some began to cry. Others just stood in shocked silence. The broadcast was playing everywhere at once. On Earth, families gathered around their televisions in living rooms and watched a human woman sacrifice herself for alien younglings. On the moon colonies, miners stopped their work to see the recording on their helmet displays. Even on the distant research stations beyond Pluto, scientists watched their colleague die a hero's death. Within 2 hours, something began to happen that had never occurred in human history. The Terra Council on Earth called an emergency meeting. At the same time, the Mars colonial government held their own urgent session. The belt mining clans, who usually fought each other over asteroid claims, suddenly started talking to each other instead of shooting. Engineer Yoon Dae-ho was welding support beams on Europa when his supervisor called everyone to the main assembly area. Hundreds of workers gathered as their boss played the recording of Hannah's death. When it finished, the room was completely quiet. That woman died protecting children who were not even her own species. The supervisor said, "She died because she was human, and humans protect the innocent. Now they have killed one of us." Dae-ho felt something burning in his chest. It was not just anger, though he was very angry. It was something deeper. It was the feeling that his entire species had been attacked, that every human everywhere was in danger because the aliens thought they could kill humans without consequence. "What do we do?" Someone called out from the crowd. "We show them what happens when you touch one of us." The supervisor replied, "The same conversation was happening on every human world." Admiral Choi Soo-min was in her office on the Luna military base when 3 different government leaders called her at the same time. The Terra president, the Mars prime minister, and even the leader of the independent Titan colonies all said the same thing. They wanted her to take command of a united human military force. Soo-min had fought in the asteroid wars 20 years earlier. She had seen humans fight each other over mining rights and shipping lanes. She never thought she would see the day when all human governments would work together. But Dr. Kim Hana's death had changed everything. "How many ships can you give me?" she asked each leader. "All of them," came the reply every time. Dr. Song Mingi was in her laboratory on Ceres Station when the mobilization order came through. She had worked with Hannah on several projects, studying how different species could live together peacefully. Now her friend was dead, and Min's peaceful research was being converted into something else entirely. Military officers arrived at her lab with boxes of captured alien technology. "We need you to figure out how their weapons work," the lead officer explained, "and then we need you to make ours better." Minji looked at the crystalline devices. Part of her wanted to refuse. She was a scientist, not a weapons designer. But when she closed her eyes, she could see Hannah's face as she protected those alien children. Her friend had died for peace, but the aliens had responded with violence. "I will help," she said quietly, "but I do this for Hannah, not for war." Factory supervisor Kim Tae-yeon received new orders that same day. His civilian manufacturing plant, which normally made farming equipment, was being converted to military production. Government officials arrived with blueprints for weapons, armor, and ship components. "My daughter wanted to be like Dr. Hannah," he told his workers as they began tearing down the old assembly lines. "She wanted to study aliens and help build bridges between different species. Now she cries every night because her hero is dead." The workers nodded grimly as they started installing new machinery. Many of them had children too. Many of them had watched the recording of Hannah's death with their families. Captain Wang Seojin was given command of one of the first ships to be converted from civilian to military use. His cargo hauler was stripped down and rebuilt with armor, plating, and weapon systems. The transformation took only 3 weeks, working around the clock. "What should we call her?" his crew asked when the conversion was complete. Seojin looked at the fresh paint on the hull, at the weapons that had replaced cargo containers, at the memorial picture of Dr. Kim Hannah mounted on the bridge. "We call her the Protector," he said. All across human space, the same thing was happening. Shipyards that had built peaceful exploration vessels started producing warships. Factories that made consumer goods switched to military equipment. Research stations that studied alien cultures began developing new weapons, technology. The Veilthran sent diplomatic messages, trying to explain that Hannah's death was an accident, a misunderstanding. But humans were no longer listening to alien words. They were preparing for war. In just 6 months, humanity would field the largest military force in their history. And every ship, every weapon, every soldier would carry the same message painted on their equipment. For Dr. Kim Hannah, Dr. Song Minji had not slept properly in 3 weeks. Her laboratory on Ceres Station looked like a war zone, with alien technology scattered across every table and floating in zero gravity around her workbench. The Veilthran crystal devices glowed softly as she carefully took them apart, trying to understand how they worked. "The energy flows through these crystal formations," she explained to her assistant over the video link. "But if we can interrupt the flow at the right frequency, their weapons become useless." Her assistant was Dr. Park Young-ho, who worked at the research facility on Titan. Before Hannah's death, they had been studying alien plant samples together. Now they were designing weapons that could kill the same aliens who had grown those plants. I feel sick doing this, Young-ho admitted as he watched Minji's demonstration. We became scientists to build, not to destroy. Minji stopped working and looked at the memorial photo of Dr. Kim Hannah that she kept on her desk. Hannah died protecting children. If we do not make these weapons, more humans will die. And maybe more alien children too, because there will be more wars. She picked up a piece of Veilthrin crystal that pulsed with dangerous energy. Sometimes we must destroy in order to protect. 3 months after Hannah's death, the first test of human-made anti-Veilthrin weapons took place in the asteroid belt. Captain Wang Xiajin watched from the bridge of his converted ship as the test target, a captured Veilthrin fighter, exploded into glittering pieces. The new pulse cannons work perfectly, reported his weapons officer, Lieutenant Nam Jie. The alien shields could not stop our attack. Xiajin nodded, but he felt no joy at the success. Send the data to Admiral Choi. Tell her we are ready for the next phase of testing. On Earth, factory supervisor Kim Taeyeon walked through his transformed manufacturing plant. Where once there had been machines making farming tractors, now there were assembly lines producing military vehicles. His workers moved with grim determination, their faces showing the same mix of sadness and anger that Taeyeon felt. How many combat suits did we finish today? He asked his floor manager. 250, came the reply. Each one designed specifically for fighting crystal-based enemies. Taeyeon watched as a new suit came off the production line. It was painted dark blue with white trim, the same colors that Dr. Hannah had worn in her research uniform. On the chest plate was a small image of her face, surrounded by the words "Never Forgotten." My daughter asked me something last night, Taeyeon said quietly. She asked if Dr. Hannah would be proud of what we are making. The floor manager was quiet for a moment. What did you tell her? I told her that Dr. Hannah died protecting children who were not even human. I think she would understand why we need to protect our own children too. Admiral Choi Soo-min stood in the command center of Luna Base, looking at the massive display screen that showed ship positions throughout the solar system. Red dots represented human military vessels, and there were thousands of them. More were being launched every day. Status report, she ordered. Commander Oh Hyun-woo stepped forward with his datapad. We now have 8,000 combat-ready ships. Admiral, the conversion of civilian vessels is ahead of schedule. We also have 400,000 trained soldiers ready for deployment. Soo-min nodded, but her expression remained serious. What? About the Veilthrins, are they taking any action? Intelligence reports indicate they are expanding their territory, Hyun-woo replied. They have taken control of 3 more human research stations. No casualties reported, but they are treating our people as prisoners. The Admiral's jaw tightened. They still think we are weak. They think killing Dr. Hannah was just a small incident that we will forget. She turned to address the other officers in the room. The Veilthrins believe they are superior to humans. They think our emotions make us weak, that our care for others is a flaw. They are about to learn how wrong they are. Engineer Yoon Dae-ho was working on Europa when the latest batch of military orders arrived. His team was converting mining ships into warships, installing weapons where cargo containers used to be. The work was dangerous and exhausting, but nobody complained. This one is almost finished, he told his crew as they welded the final armor plates onto a former ore hauler. What should we call her? One of his workers, a young woman named Lee Sunmei, looked up from her welding torch. How about the Hannah's vengeance? Dae-ho shook his head. Dr. Hannah was not a vengeful person. She died protecting alien children. We should honor her memory properly. He thought for a moment, then smiled sadly. We call her the Guardian's Promise, because we promised to guard what Dr. Hannah died for. The ship launch ceremonies had become important events throughout human space. When each converted vessel was completed, the workers would gather to watch it depart for the growing fleet. Families came with their children, holding pictures of Dr. Kim Hannah and singing songs in her memory. Captain Park Soyoing attended one such ceremony at the Mars shipyards before taking command of her new fighter squadron. As the crowd sang, she noticed that even the children knew all the words to the memorial songs. Hannah's death had united humanity in a way that nothing else ever had. The fleet will be ready soon, she whispered to Hannah's picture, and then they will pay for what they did to you. Admiral Choi Soo-min stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Hannah's Light, watching as thousands of human ships prepared for the largest military operation in their species' history. 6 months had passed since Dr. Kim Hannah's death, and now humanity was ready to show the galaxy what happened when you killed one of their own. All fleet commanders report ready, Admiral announced Commander Oh Hyun-woo from his station. 10,000 ships across 7 target systems. Every human world has contributed vessels to this operation. Soo-min nodded as she looked at the tactical display. Red dots representing human ships surrounded each Veilthrin system like angry swarms of insects. The aliens had no idea what was coming for them. Open a channel to all ships, she ordered. Her voice would reach every human soldier. pilot, and crew member in the massive fleet. Today we fight not for conquest, but for justice. Dr. Kim Hannah died protecting children who were not even her species. The Veilthrons killed her and called it an accident. They have learned nothing from her sacrifice. She paused, looking at the memorial photo of Hannah that every ship carried. Let us teach them what it means to touch one of us. All ships, begin the attack. Captain Wang Xiajin felt his converted cargo ship shake as it dropped out of hyperspace around the Veilthron world of Kethmer. Around him, hundreds of other human vessels appeared at the same moment, their weapons already charging for battle. Enemy ships detected, reported his tactical officer. 12 Veilthron cruisers moving to intercept. They seemed surprised by our numbers. Xiajin smiled grimly. The aliens had expected a small revenge attack, maybe a few angry humans seeking to punish Hannah's killers. Instead, they faced the combined might of an entire species. Target their lead ship, he ordered. Fire the new pulse cannons. The weapons that Dr. Song Minji had designed struck the Veilthron cruiser with devastating effect. The alien ships, Crystal Hall, which had seemed so beautiful during peaceful meetings, shattered like glass under the human attack. The other Veilthron ships tried to return fire, but their energy weapons could not penetrate the new human shields. Lieutenant Nam Juye led her squad of Marines in their first boarding action against a disabled Veilthron vessel. The combat suits that Kim Taeyeon's factory had produced worked perfectly, protecting the humans from the aliens' crystalline weapons while allowing them to move freely in the enemy ship. Remember, we are not here to massacre, she told her soldiers as they moved. Through the alien corridors, we fight to win, not to become monsters. The Veilthron crew they encountered seemed shocked that the primitive humans had technology advanced enough to board their ships. Their crystal bodies flickered with fear as they realized their weapons could not harm the human soldiers. Surrender. GA called out through her translator. You will not be harmed if you do not resist. The battle for the Veilthron system of Velterra lasted 8 hours. Captain Park Soyoung led her fighter squadron against the alien interceptors, her pilots using tactics that the crystal beings had never seen before. Human fighters moved in coordinated groups, protecting each other and striking with precision that surprised their enemies. Their ships are faster than ours, she reported to the fleet command. But they fight as individuals. We fight as a family. Engineer Yoon Dae-ho watched from his converted mining ship as the massive Veilthron space station began to break apart under human weapons fire. The station had been built to look like a beautiful crystal flower, but now it was collapsing into glittering fragments. Target their weapon systems only, he ordered his crew. We are here to stop them from fighting, not to kill everyone aboard. His ship's mining lasers, designed to cut through asteroids, sliced through the alien station's defenses with ease. The Veilthrons had built their technology to be beautiful and efficient, but they had not prepared for the kind of brutal, practical weapons that humans could create. Dr. Song Mingi monitored the battle from her command ship, watching as her weapon designs proved effective against Veilthron technology. Each successful hit should have made her proud, but instead, she felt only sadness. This was not the kind of science she had wanted to practice. The aliens are trying to surrender, reported the communications officer. Their fleet commander is requesting terms. Mingi looked at the tactical display showing the destruction across 7 star systems. The Veilthron military had been completely defeated in less than a day. Their beautiful crystal ships floated as debris fields, and their proud space stations lay in ruins. Tell Admiral Choi, she said quietly. The first phase is complete. Admiral Sumin received the surrender offer while standing in the wreckage of a Veilthron command ship. Around her, human soldiers searched through the crystal debris, looking for survivors and intelligence data. The aliens who had seemed so powerful and advanced just hours earlier now cowered in their damaged vessels. They want to negotiate, Commander Hyunwoo reported. They say Hannah's death was a tragic mistake and they are willing to pay compensation. Sumin looked at the broken crystal walls around her, at the alien emergency lights flickering in the smoke-filled corridors. The Veilthrons had learned what human military power could accomplish, but the real lesson was still to come. Tell them, we will accept their surrender, she said. But first, we visit their homeworld. They need to understand that this is not about revenge. This is about justice. Admiral Choi Sumin stood on the bridge of her flagship as the human fleet surrounded the Veilthron homeworld of crystal. Below them, the planet sparkled like a jewel, its surface covered with crystal cities that reached toward the stars. With a single order, she could destroy it all. The weapons that Dr. Song Mingi had designed were powerful enough to crack the planet's crust. But she thought of Dr. Kim Hannah's final words about protecting children, and her finger hesitated over the firing control. Admiral, called out Commander Oh Hyunwoo from his station. We are receiving a transmission from the planet. The Veilthron High Crystal wants to speak with you. The main screen flickered to life, showing a massive crystalline being whose body pulsed with dim, sickly light. This was Velthanar, the leader of the Veilthron Collective. Even through the translation device, Sumin could hear the fear in his harmonic voice. Please, the alien leader said, we surrender completely. We will give you anything you want. Just, do not destroy our world. Sumin looked at the readings from her science officer. The human fleet had enough firepower to turn the beautiful crystal cities below into dust. Every human in the fleet knew that Dr. Hannah would still be alive if the Veilthrons had shown mercy during their first meeting. You killed one of our people, Sumin said slowly. She died protecting your children, and you did not even pause to honor her sacrifice. Why should we show you mercy that you did not show her? Captain Lee Minho was monitoring the conversation from his ship when his science officer called out urgently. Captain, you need to see this data we captured from the Veilthron command ship. Minho looked at the translated files on his screen and felt his anger slowly change to something else. The information revealed why the Veilthrons had been so aggressive, why they had expanded their territory so desperately. Get me Admiral Choi immediately, he ordered. Dr. Song Minji was studying the same captured data aboard her research vessel. The Veilthron files told a story of desperation that no human had suspected. Their beautiful crystal bodies were dying from an ancient plague called the Void Sickness. It turned their crystalline structure into dust, killing them slowly and painfully. That is why they were so afraid of Dr. Hannah's medical scanner, she whispered to her assistant. In their world, anything that examines living tissue is connected to the plague. They thought she was trying to infect them. She looked at Dr. Hannah's research notes, which she had kept on her computer. Hannah had been studying how different species could adapt to diseases. Her work might be the key to saving the Veilthron people. Contact the Admiral, Minji ordered. I think I know how to cure them. Admiral Sumin listened as her officers explained what they had discovered. The Veilthrons were not evil conquerors trying to destroy humanity. They were a dying species, desperate to find new worlds where they could survive. Their aggression came from fear, not hatred. Dr. Hannah would have wanted to help them, she said quietly, even after what they did to her. On the planet below, Velthanar waited for the human response. His people had prepared for destruction, gathering in their crystal temples to sing their death songs. The children had been moved to the deepest underground chambers, where they might survive the first wave of human attacks. But instead of destruction, a new message came from the human fleet. We offer you a choice. Admiral Sumin's voice echoed across the planet. You can face justice for Dr. Hannah's death, or you can accept our help. We have studied your plague, and we believe we can cure it. Velthanar's crystal body pulsed with confusion. You would help us. After we killed your scientist, Dr. Kim Hannah died protecting your children, Sumin replied. If we destroy you now, her sacrifice means nothing. If we save you, then she truly succeeded in building a bridge between our species. Dr. Song Minji worked day and night for the next 3 months, using Hannah's research to develop a cure for the void sickness. Captain Wang Xiajin's converted cargo ship became a mobile laboratory, filled with both human and Veilthron scientists working together. The cure worked better than anyone had hoped. The quantum treatment that Mingi developed not only stopped the plague but actually reversed its effects. Veilthrons who had been dying slowly began to recover, their crystal bodies growing bright and strong again. Engineer Yuan Deho led the construction teams that helped rebuild the Veilthron worlds, damaged in the war. His workers, who had spent months converting civilian equipment into weapons, now turned their skills toward healing instead of destruction. My daughter asks about Dr. Hannah every day, he told his Veilthron work partner as they assembled a new medical facility. I tell her that Hannah's kindness saved 2 species, not just one. 1 year after the war ended, Admiral Choi Sumin stood in a garden on the space station where Dr. Kim Hannah had died. The memorial statue showed Hannah with her arms outstretched, protecting the alien children who had survived because of her sacrifice. Around the statue, human and Veilthron children played together, their laughter echoing through the halls where weapons fire had once sounded. The Hannah Accords, signed by both species, established new rules for contact between different forms of life. You did it, Sumin whispered to the statue. You really did build a bridge between the stars. The inscription at the base of the memorial read simply, Dr. Kim Hannah, she showed us that love is stronger than fear, and that protecting others is the highest calling of any species. In the end, humanity had mobilized everything not just for war, but for the peace that Hannah had died trying to create.